People are losing confidence, man, but it is just too easy. Just like the thumbnail says, if you look at usually a random altcoin, there are some exceptions, you will probably find a chart that looks like this. And this is nothing crazy in this stage of the market. Actually, this is very normal. In fact, this is super bullish. Why? And what is actually too easy? Well, what's too easy in my opinion is to pick the niche in crypto that will blow up the hardest once we get an alt season. And today I would like to talk about that niche and why I think that niche is going to completely rip. So if you're curious, please give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on, and already let me know down below which narrative in crypto do you think is going to blow up most. If you can give me a good reason, I'm gonna pick 2 winners that both get $50, just a small giveaway to say thank you to this community. So let me know, like, gaming because blah, 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 or this because blah, just blah, blah, you know, but a little more or less blah. Now let's get into the crypto market first, and then why I think that this narrative in crypto is going to completely skyrocket, and also when to position yourself. Okay, because if we now look at the crypto market, it is maybe not the best time to go all in. I do think that for a lot of altcoins, it is time to have a good portion of DCA right now, because a lot of altcoins are sitting at major support. And the question is then, of course, like, hey, is that support going to hold? If yes, then this is a great buying opportunity. If not, then it's all going to rekt city. But if that happens, then way down below there in rekt city, that is the best buying opportunity ever, actually. Okay, if we, for example, look, I had this chart as an example, right? This is playable games, and it first had, I don't know when it exactly came out. I don't think that this is the real beginning, but let's say from this low right here to the high, playable games did a 30x. It's incredible, right? But because it pumped so hard, it now also is already down with 88%. So a lot of altcoins look like this. Right now, the higher caps might not be down 88%, but then again, if you look at smaller caps altcoins, for example, a Honeyland, a project that is actually pretty good, also down 85%. Right, so it kind of looks like Bitcoin is in a bull market and altcoins are in a bear market. So if you ask, like, hey, are we in a bull or bear market? Then your next question should be, or your counter question first should be like, okay, but for which coin? Because they are completely doing the opposite right now. Of course, there are altcoins that are moving nicely, but even the strong coins and the high caps, like for example on IMX, if you buy it at the wrong time, yeah, I mean, even this one is down 52%. And that doesn't feel like a bull market, right? Especially if you buy here and you now notice that you're down 52%, yeah, you're not the one that's going to tell people like, oh yeah, we are in a bull market. No, you just lost half of your portfolio. It feels like a bear market, but it actually isn't. Okay, I want to put that perspective in this video real quick, okay? Because if we look at the overall altcoin market right now, this thing from the top is now down with 30%. Right, but this is only the top 125, excluding the top 10. But you know, everything outside of the top 125 that goes down harder, of course, right? So one compensates for the other. So if this is down 30%, make it double, and that's pretty much how your portfolio will look like on average, right? Unless you are into some big winners or some big that's the average. But down 30%. Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, in this bull market right here, right? If you bought at this top, for example, and you wrote it down, that was also down 40%. And this was not even that spectacular. If you bought altcoins at this top and you wrote it all the way down, you were down 62%, right? Compared to the 30 right now. That's like fucked up. If you bought this top, same, down 50%. If you bought this top, you would have been down 60%. Right? But if you put that in hindsight and you look at this, then it was still a bull market. Right? It was a big bull market, but a bull market always goes with huge corrections. Now, in the last bull market, the corrections weren't that big, right? Of course, with the COVID crash, but other than that, we had corrections of like, again, 32%. Here we had a wick of 30%. Here we had a crash of 35%. This was way bigger, of course. This was the first like top for the crypto market before the second one came, but it was 70%, right? And then if you put it on the daily, you can see a lot more short-term wicks to the downside. Now, if you compare that to this bull market, yeah, you can see we went down 25%, and now from the top, we went down from top to bottom around 40%. So this is nothing exceptional. Okay, I want to put that in your mind first, because I see too many comments of people saying, yeah, the bull market is over. We're all crazy. If you don't sell right now, you're weird. And this time is different. And like, come on, shut your emotions down. This is completely normal. Okay, this is completely normal. It's June 2024. If anything, we have 1.5 years to go. The bull market is basically halfway right now, okay? However, it doesn't mean you cannot get completely freaking wrecked in the meantime, all right? Because, yeah, this was a 40% correction. Now we're sitting at a 30% correction. Hey, could this go down more? Yeah. Like, of course, right? It happened before. We saw 60% corrections happen earlier. And if we take it from the top, let's say we have another 60% correction, it will take us all the way down here, right? This level, basically this big resistance level that we broke out and never retested. I'm not saying we will, but I'm saying the possibility is, of course, there, right? Of course, it could happen. So what you see in the meantime is a lot of altcoins getting completely wrecked, especially, like I said, the low caps, because the low caps, they pumped really hard. Domi Online, 33x, right? So, of course, it went down with 83%. It's not a bad chart. It is still up 6x. But if you bought the top or anything close to it, yeah, then you find yourself getting wrecked, right? So the market just gives you a great opportunity, resets, and yeah, the outcome for you depends on what you do with that, of course. Now, like said, there is a niche in crypto that I think is going to benefit a lot in this coming bull market. Well, multiple, but I want to speak about one in specific. But first, I want to show you how big the opportunity actually is, okay? Again, I mean, if you look at the altcoin market, a lot of people, they are super negative right now, right? They are bearish. They see altcoins go down, but it's because they measure it from the top. The top is only relevant to measure if you bought it from there. If you bought it from here, then you have your priorities completely not straight, okay? You had many chances to buy, and eventually you decided to buy here. Yeah, then that's better. Then you have to have some patience, all right? Don't panic sell right now. That's the worst thing that you can do by far, right? That puts you in a loss. You came in crypto to win, not to lose. But if you, for some reason, had conviction in projects here, then why not here or here? Same projects, a lot of projects, time-wise, have more, they developed more, right? So a lot of projects here are better than here, right? So if this comes down right now, then it is a discount. That's what you call it, right? Same or better quality, but lower price. So why in the world would you not want to buy it? Well, because you lose faith because the sentiment is going down. Not everybody is bullish anymore. People are negative. They talk about the fact that it's never coming back, and you actually start to believe it, and you don't want to buy these coins anymore. You rather buy it when they're up here. I think it takes some experience or a strong piece of character to ignore that, right? And to have the balls to buy when everything is pretty cheap, okay? Now, long term, you want to have your conviction first, right? If you do not believe in the crypto cycle for some reason anymore, yeah, then it's really hard to buy right here. If you think it could all really go down and never come back, Yeah, that's not my belief, to be honest. This is very normal. This is what we have seen every cycle. And every cycle, it is showing us like, in hindsight, it was just a buying opportunity, right? Why didn't we buy more there or buy even at all, right? And I don't want to look at this cycle later and be like, oh, yeah, no, I didn't buy because everybody was scared and I got scared because everybody was scared. Like, please keep that out of your head. If you want to make it, that's the thing. Crypto is player versus player, right? If you buy cheap, it means you're buying it cheap from someone who sells it cheap and the other way around. So you want to have the balls when nobody else has. If you don't have them, then you're not winning from the rest. So what are you winning then? Then you are not making money with crypto. So you have to be better than the rest. Yeah, it's so fortunate for the newcomers because a lot of people like me, they've been here for years. A lot of people, they are like, I came in crypto in 2013, but my real experience, okay, 2017 is when I really started actually. But a lot of people entered in 2017, 2021. They went through this. They look at the chart going down and they are not the ones sitting there like, oh my God. They are the ones like, okay, you know, same shit, different day, right? Like we've seen this before. I now know how it works. And all the people that tell like, yeah, no, but this time is different. Tell me one time when that has worked out for someone, okay? But nevertheless, if it's going to shit, which could definitely happen, be prepared. Be prepared, okay? If you look at the altcoin chart on its dollar pair, this is not that bearish. That the fact that we lost the bull market support band could be bearish for a while. But overall, it's clear higher highs and higher lows, right? I mean, we have a low, we have a low, we have a low, we have a low, and you know, the highs. It's looking like a super strong uptrend, which just has a lot of room to cool off in between. However, if you look at altcoins on their Bitcoin pair, then it's looking not so great. And that's positive actually, right? Because that gives us the buying opportunity. Because if you look at altcoins on their Bitcoin pair, you can see that they are sitting at the cycle low. Okay, the cycle low. Understand that. So the only reason why altcoins are maybe holding up on the dollar pair is because Bitcoin is like 4x from the lows. Okay, that's the only reason. If it was for these altcoins, they will all be sitting like way lower. They would never gotten that high. Okay, because an altcoin has a certain valuation against Bitcoin. Like if you look at let me take a good example, a Matic. Yeah, it's a good example. Matic. It has a certain valuation against Bitcoin, which is lower than what it was since the 2021 bull market. So it never went this low in 3 years, right? So Matic, mad rekt, right? So this is not looking good. But because Bitcoin is worth a lot, Matic on its dollar pair is actually doing quite okay, right? But that's only because Bitcoin is worth a lot. Again, if it was for Matic, yeah, fucked up. So therefore, I've been saying for a long time, it's not even worth it to buy these altcoins. You'd rather buy Bitcoin, right? Because if you bought Matic, whatever it did on the dollar pair, you lost from the lows 50% of your Bitcoin. Yeah, that's too bad. Bitcoin is worth 70K, right? If you lost 50% of that, that matters, right? So altcoins overall, they are weak on their Bitcoin pair. And there is a good chance that this is a beautiful accumulation phase. There's also a good chance that this will come down and test the range lows like it always does. I don't know. I tend to believe that this will happen because of the macro conditions, because of the fact that it is showing weakness. Every time above the bull market support band, it has struggles and it gets rejected. The sentiment is not really shifting. I honestly feel like people don't believe in altcoins anymore. So this is not looking good. Right now, if this goes down right here with another like 36%, altcoins overall, right, on average fall let's say 40, 50% on their Bitcoin pair, right? Because this also includes, the high caps and everything like that. But it depends per altcoin, right? So a Matic, for example, could easily go back to this range. So what the hell does that mean on its Bitcoin pair then? Well, on the dollar pair. Well, that we don't know because that depends on what Bitcoin is going to do. But it is not bullish necessarily. So if Bitcoin goes down in the same period or sideways, altcoins could really have, altcoins are now slowly bleeding, right? Seedify, for example, went up really hard. And then over the last 3 months, basically, it's just slowly bleeding back down. But this is not a capitulation. Capitulation is really this, right? This is more diagonal. There could be that capitulation. That's possible. Okay, just keep it in mind. The possibility is really there that a big capitulation is going to happen on altcoins. And, if I would have said a couple of weeks ago, right here, for example, Seedify was 380, hey, it's going to $2, people would also be like, what the fuck? What does it take? Well, not a lot. It just takes some time, right? And it slowly every week decreases a little more. And before you know, you're at levels that you haven't seen in a long time. And you're back where you were before the big breakout basically happened. That's giving everybody a second chance right here, right? Because a lot of people missed this, right? And they didn't profit from this whole way up. Yeah, you are pretty close to a second chance already, right? We're not there yet. I mean, with Seedify specific, you could have made a 970% gain. If we go back there right now, it's 200. Right, so that's a big difference still, but give it some time. Therefore, don't buy I look at some YouTubers and they'll be like, buy the dip, alt season will come. Just deploy. Now is the time. I don't know. I haven't really been buying lately, and I'm pretty comfortable right now. Right, I have some cash. I hope you do too. Right, and every week I look at such a chart, I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm happy I didn't buy it here. I'm happy I didn't buy it here. And at a certain point it will go up, but it doesn't matter. You don't have to try to time the bottom, but then at least you are in an uptrend, right? So you're not trying to buy every single dip, right? And wasting your money. Just wait for confirmation. Be like, okay, downtrend is over. Let's now buy. You still buy it a lot lower than all the people who bought it here, okay? I just want to give you some perspective first before we talk about the niches that I'm talking about, because if you don't have a clue of where things might go, then the opportunity doesn't mean shit. In my opinion, we are getting an alt season like we do every cycle so far. Let's see what the difference is this time. But it just takes some time, right? It just takes some time. Usually, so far, at least every single time, we got an alt season 8 months after the Bitcoin halving. If that's the case, we can expect an alt season end of this year, beginning next year, right? So, of course, we could see it a month or two later, earlier, whatever. But I don't expect an alt season tomorrow, all of a sudden, or never, right? That's too far off. So, if that happens, you want to be prepared, right? You don't prepare by buying every dip, right? And putting your average way too high. What could happen, again, is that altcoins from this point suffer another 40, 50% maybe. It depends. I mean, if we, for example, get a big recession or a super hard landing, yeah, then make it 80. Of course, that could happen. But overall, I think if the market just moves without a specific narrative, the way it always moves, yeah, then we can maybe see another 30, 40% correction. Hey, and don't talk shit at me like if altcoins now moon next week. I'm not talking about daily, weekly. I'm talking more about the rest of the complete summer, basically, right? So what's of course possible is that altcoins do something like this, right? That we first go up and then go down. Maybe we don't go down. That's also possible. But so far I still are, right? And I don't see I don't know. I don't see in the charts really yet why that should stop right now. So if you buy an altcoin, let's say this one goes back down here somewhere, right? Maybe $1 or something like that. And it then goes back to the cycle high. Yeah, then you're already sitting at a 6.5x. Okay, and that goes for this altcoin. Now, I want to talk about the specific niches because I don't want to make everybody scared, but I am saying like, hey, I'm partly in crypto, partly in cash. So whether the market goes up, down, sideways, I don't know, man. I'm happy, and I think that's just the best way to do it, right? You can, of course, be all in or all out of the market, but there are times that's gonna be fucked up, right? And yeah, if you're willing to take a lot of risk, like if you're younger, if you're whatever, then it doesn't really matter. If you're playing with some more money and you really feel like, yeah, but this could be my shot, really, if I play this well, and you want to be a little more strategic about it, then I would definitely recommend considering not going all in or all out of the market at any point. Anyway, what you want to look at for when the crypto market like finally gives altcoins a chance, right? Post-halving years are usually the years for altcoins. So, sorry, patience. But what you want to look at are the altcoins that were strong when the market was giving us that preview. The crypto market is like a movie theater, right? At a certain point, it gives you kind of preview from like, okay, this is going to happen, right? But this is nothing yet. You wait. And then you want to look at the altcoins that responded to that. So it happens to be that the niche is right in front of me right now. Launchpads. Easy, man. Easy. Okay, if you look at Seedify, for example, when the market was doing well, when it was well for altcoins, Seedify from the bottom to the top went up with like 11x. Now, what you want to take a look at is, of course, the overall altcoin market. So you want to take the others, not the total tree. Total tree is a bullshit chart. You want to take that from the bottom to the top. You want to see how much did the market did in general. 425%. What did Seedify do? 975%. Okay, so it outperformed the market by 2x, right? This is the outperforming part of it. Right? If you look at a Fomo Factory, for example, from the bottom to the top, it did it 300%. Although I love Fomo Factory, it's a underperformer. It has only performed in last bull market. In the bear market, it got more rekt than most altcoins. And in this recovery, it didn't do nearly as much as the rest. So, although I love it, and I do for some weird reason have a position myself, I would say like, hey, this is a good example of an altcoin that you don't want to pay too much attention to. Okay? But this for me more like a gamble, like, hey, what if it picks up? But, you know, based on the chart, I would say, get out, right? But Seedify, for example, is a project that showed that strength, right? They were a big outperformer. Now, of course, the narrative is pretty simple. New launches, especially in peak bull, are making you rich as fuck. Right, that's crazy. If you look cryptorank.io, what kind of ROI Seedify had in the last bull market, especially peak bull, October, November, December 2021 with Blocktopia, Side Zeros, etc. We're talking about, 600 X's that they made. Crazy shit, right? Crazy shit. So people, when there's liquidity in the market again, which currently there isn't, they want to allocate that in new launches to be there as early as possible. And therefore they need, for example, the Seedify token. Now, you might feel like, yeah, but that narrative is over. That's not going to work this time. Yes, because the market is going down, your sentiment is bearish. Of course. But you have to think about the sentiment in a bullish market. The sentiment here was pretty freaking bullish. Yeah, what's the point of getting in when that's already happening? You want to be there before that. So therefore you want to have conviction and balls when nobody else has. And that's hard, but you really want to have that. Okay? Launchpads are really, really, really worth it. Okay, and I'm not just talking about Seedify. I'm talking about Game Starter. Fuck, this chart doesn't take it all the way back. Well, let's take another one. Engine Starter, for example. Engine Starter this time frame looks not so good. Broke trend. I know. Okay, fuck it. But if you take it from the bottom to the top, what did it do? 900%. If you look at GameFi, then we take it from the bottom to the top, 1200%. Poolz Finance, from the bottom to the top, 314%. But this is not in all the chart. So this actually did quite well. Avalanche, for example, and that's by far not one of the top tier launchpads, 1400%. But this went together with the fact that it was low cap, launchpads were a big hype, and AVAX was a big hype. Well, combination. Chain GPT, yeah, we don't even need to talk about that. Right? I can give you a lot of examples, but the fact is that launchpads are the ones that are the big winners because everybody wants to be in these new launches. Look at projects like Decubate, like Poolz Finance, like Sparta, like Seedify, like Sidus maybe. It's quite new. The launchpad side at least. So be a little careful when it comes to that though. But paid network. I've bought a bag of paid network, really. And I can show you exactly why I did that. Because paid network, this is just one little shill that I want to give you in specific. If I look at the chart, I feel like, fuck yeah. Alex Becker is getting paid by paid to talk about paid without saying he's paid. But he talks about it and that gets people into it, right? Now, if I look at paid, like the chart was quite like low, really low, right? But Launchpad season came back. Alex Becker started to talk about it. And what happened? We have had that resistance at around 5 cents. And after it broke that, it completely mooned all the way to like 40 cents almost. Now we are almost back at the level of breakout. And I just look at this chart and be like, yeah, pretty obvious to me. Pretty obvious. All right, so I've bought some at 8.5 cents. If it I'm under the impression that it can go to 5, so I didn't buy it that much, and I'm prepared to lose like half of the money that I invested in the meantime. If it gets to like 4 or 5 cents, I'm going heavy. I'm going really heavy. Not even to participate in the paid launches. Maybe if they have some good one. I don't know. Depends on if you have to stake it for a certain duration. But just because this chart could definitely go up quite hard. If you look at the market cap, looks kind of the same, right? It went all the way from 105 million to 23, right? And it could go to 15 or so. Yeah, if it goes back to 100, that's an obvious trade. That's obvious, right? Launchpads are there to stay. The downside is, like if you, for example, look at a Seedify, once again, right? Like you can look at this chart and be like, yeah, what if it goes back to $18? 10x from here. Yeah, but more token circulation right now. So $6 is the new $18 actually. So it kind of already went to the all-time high. Okay, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because let's say it goes down all the way here or something like that. I don't know. It goes down here, 70 cents or so. And then goes back, then you're still sitting at a 8x almost. And you want to be there because people massively buy these things up as soon as there are new projects launching. One negative thing though, fucking a lot of competition these days. Everyone and his mother is starting a launchpad. And I noticed that most people only look at what's giving me the highest allocation. That's not what you should take a look at though. Because if you get a very high allocation in a project for not a lot of money, it means the project tokens pre-market are too accessible, which also means that there's not a lot of buying pressure when it comes to the open market. So the ROI is not even going to be, so, you know, what good is a high allocation if it doesn't make a certain amount of access? What I think with these launchpad tokens is important. Look at the team. Look is like, does it have a good refund policy, right? You want to stay safe. You want to see like, are they somewhat innovative maybe? Are they doing something different? Or is it just another ripoff from any other launchpad out there, right? Like AI tech, for example. Yeah, it's nothing bad about AI tech. But as a launchpad, I don't see what they are doing better. It's just another launchpad. And the allocations are freaking low, right? Therefore, you really want to wait when it's cheap, okay? Because it's not that allocations don't matter. They do matter, but it's not the only priority. But for example, if you bought Seedify at 580, yeah, then you don't get that much tokens, right? But if you now buy it at 180 or so, then you get more than twice as much tokens already for the same amount of money. So twice as much allocation. Yeah, that's pretty nice in peak bull when some projects pull off hundreds of X's, right? Then you're really going to notice the difference. Another tip though, and I want to give about these launchpads. Usually you have to stake your launchpad tokens in order to get allocation. For example, with Engine Starter, they have an option to stake your tokens for, what was it, 999 days or so? Don't think like, oh yeah, that's giving the highest APY, let's do that. You really want to pull up your calendar, right? And be like, okay, 999 days from now, when is that? I don't know from the top of my head, but that should be somewhere in 2027, maybe. Yeah, I don't know, man. But then the bull market is probably already over. Okay, and you see what happens to these tokens in a bear market. They lose 97% of their value. So don't lock up your tokens for too long. I think it's ridiculous that they offer that option in the first place. And a lot of people are not going to be happy with it. I know, of own responsibility, but why should the project offer it in the first place? Like it's June, you know, bull market is probably not going to last longer than end 2025. So don't lock it for more than a year, I would say. But that's what I am doing. But launchpad tokens are definitely worth it because it's also super easy to get your money back, right? Like, for example, with Engine Started and I have a project going on with Web3 Whales. We invested $5,000 in that project. If it does 10x, we have 50K. Cool, that pays off for all the Engine Starter tokens already. If it doesn't perform really well, I just press a freaking refund button and I get my money back. So it's simple like that. Therefore, and like I said, they have outperformed. Okay, they have outperformed. So you could see like, hey, when did Seedify, for example, let's go back to Seedify, when did it go up? From September 2023, it really started its run, right? September 2023. Now, let's go back to see, was there an alt season during that period? September 2023 was here. What happened here? Altcoins were getting freaking wrecked against Bitcoin, right? It was full Bitcoin season that period. It was the low, basically. Oh, yeah. Like the Bitcoin dominance went up. So can you imagine what these projects will do when we see finally an alt season? I don't know, but it seems so freaking obvious to me. So obvious. Now you want to remind yourself like what was having the hype, the narrative, what is really having the attention, right? Of course, now meme coins, but meme coins always move like different in a cycle. There's always a period when meme coins take all the liquidity and that will last for a while. And that's really not that sustainable, at least not for most of them. But the AVAX hype, for example, right? AVAX and their gaming, yeah, crazy. So what I'm looking at, playable games. This is kind of beautiful for me. Right? Because I am looking at this chart like, is it holding support? Nah, broke. Is it holding support right here? It broke, right? And I feel like, dude, it went all the way to 1.1 cents. It's now sitting 10 times as low. That's pretty decent, right? If you buy it here and it just goes back to where it came from, then we're sitting at an 8.5x. So that's worth the risk already for me to maybe DCA some. I did, by the way, for playable games. Right, but the AVAX hype. Shrapnel. I don't like hold that much shrapnel. I don't even know if I have it here because of the dilution. But whatever, that in the bull market, especially in alt season, nobody gives a fuck about that. I can tell you that. Domi Online. Crazy stuff. Gunzilla. We bought 7 or 8 Gunzilla nodes with Web3 whales. So if you want to have some exposure to Gunzilla, you can also check out Web3 whales. All right, W3W, check CoinGecko. But that's the kind of stuff, dude. Like Beam also has to do something with AVAX, of course, right? Right, interesting stuff. The whole gaming AI, not going away, man. Not going away. Right, but look at the strong ones. Don't look at the ultras, for example. I like ultras somewhat, but if you look at ultra, for example, on its Bitcoin pair, then you look at it and be like, yeah, okay, I could have better bought Bitcoin because this sucks. Every time I look at this chart, it's lower again, right? Major support was sitting here, and it's like, I wonder if it comes back. But that's the way how I look at it. So I want to leave it there. I don't want to make 1 hour videos all the time. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think about this strategy. If it worked for you in the past. If you feel like this is going to work for me now. If you agree, disagree. Leave all kind of comments. Not all kind of. Some are stupid. But I love you guys. Thanks for watching. Like the video if you like the video. Take care.